Your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is 96.9 FM Radio, Guardian Radio. So happy to be in your company. I'm Howard Brad right here on The Foundation post. What did we say? What did we call yesterday, right? What did we call the, I don't know, I mean, sort of the unraveling of some of the things that we held dear and near to us as it relates to tradition, as it relates to an expectation that we can move into the future with these pillars in place. What do we call this kind of an unraveling that we've seen yesterday? Behind that, the wizard had the dark cloak, and we looked behind the curtain and we recognized that not necessarily turmoil, but there was indifference, right? What do we talk about that? Before we get into anything like that, because we're going to dive into it today, and you know the numbers to be able to do that. Before we do that, I thought there was enough information in the paper that I didn't need a guest today. So I'd like to engage you to dive into these conversations with me today. But first, let's thank the sponsors that continue to be able to sponsor the show. As Commonwealth Bank, J.S. Johnson, Marco's Pizza, and Rev Bahamas. If you guys want to be a part of the sponsorship of this show, please give us a call here, 325-4316, or you can just call the station. You can be able to get that anywhere on Google. Right here at Guardian, and let them know that you want to be a part of advertisement. I'm out here and I'm seeing a lot of persons actually have conversations about, Howard, how do I sponsor the show? I want to be a part of it. If you want to call me directly, you can do that, 827-0111. I can be able to tell you exactly what's what. We've got the rate sheets. We got everything kind of laid out for you, so I'm excited to kind of do that. You know, this is our second week in here. Is it the second week? The third week? Second or third week? Where are we? I don't know, these times going, especially with the fact that so much has happened over the past day alone. Now, at the introduction of this conversation, I want to say this like this, and I'm going to do this, right? At the introduction of this conversation and at the introduction of the show, we talked about this idea of what the foundation was about. We talked about the fact that after a revolution, after this kind of a time period that we've been fighting the traditions that never necessarily fed us, that never served us. We fought these traditions that kept us locked into this kind of a space. And the revolution came to kind of do away with this, to dismiss this, to eradicate this entirely. So after revolution, there comes this time of tumult. You know, things are just out of its place. The traditions now, they're kind of, plucked up and gone. But we're left with the foundation. What do? We build. And it's unique and significant, the fact that we're building in this year of Jubilee. This is our 50th year. This is the time of Jubilee. All y'all church people, you know about Leviticus 25. So you know about these particular things, right? And so whilst we're doing that, right, I want to say this to you. I read the text. Indecency slid through, right? So whilst we're doing that, I want to say this to you. Watch me. Let's just be very clear about this. I had an opportunity to be able to listen to, I want to tell you his name is Bishop Carr, right? There's a podcast and he started to talk about before our late Queen Elizabeth passed away, that this is before she passed away now. Should I play the clip? I don't know. I have the clip here on my phone. Should I play the clip? Let me know. Give me a text. Tell me if you want to hear it. But let me tell you what he says. So he says, the Queen is going to close her eyes in death soon. This is prior to her passing. And when she closes her eyes in death, the Anglo-Saxon, that kind of the tribe that she looks over, the tradition that she represents in this earth, the traditions that exist will no longer stand. There will be trouble everywhere. Watch me be getting deep with the thing, right? I listen to the man, right? I don't get super religious with these things, but I'm listening to him and I understand the trade winds of time. Talk to me. The trade winds of time, when there was majority rule ushered in, that fight that actually pushed us to this position of independence and of ownership didn't only exist in this space. Simultaneously, other spaces universally, globally, were fighting for the same thing. So this is the trade winds of time, right? Now watch me. The death of the Queen was a representation of a shift that didn't just happen in the oligarch, in the Commonwealth, or in the spaces that she oversees. It represented a shift from the tradition to the progressive globally. Now, with that said, I want to kind of shoot your attention to what has been happening, both locally and globally. We've seen significant people pass away or having significant health issues as a result of time, whatever the issues were. We're watching these people pass away just before us. Yesterday, I was watching the procession into the Majority Rule Day celebration at St. Agnes Church on the nation's channel, you know, what we're watching. So I'm watching it, right, on YouTube. And as I'm watching it, I watch Reverend C.B. Moss pass by. I say, hey, C.B. Moss, right? And the camera pans out. As the camera pans out, you can see the entire cathedral. So you're looking in to identify those particular persons. In the back of my head, I'm saying, wow, I should have been here, right? So I'm looking at these particular persons, right? I can see Shannon Dawn Cartwright. I could see Pastor Mario Moxie. I could see, you know, I'm just naming a few persons, but there were so many persons in the room that I knew, right? We see the former Prime Minister, both Perry Christie and Hubert Ingram in their capacity as former Prime Ministers. We see Dame Marguerite. We see the Governor General. So we're seeing the entire thing. It pans out. And the procession's going on and they're moving towards it. Father Cartwright's prepared, right? The altar boys got the boats and everything like that. This is happening. This is happening live. And when it comes back in, we saw C.B. Moss, boom, transition, come back. We see a bunch of people gathering around, lifting him and putting him on the bench. And I'm looking at this and I say, what in the world is going on here? Come to find out that he had, let's read what the people say. Moss is in the ICU after collapsing at Majority Rule service, right? Prominent Bahamian pastor and community activist Reverend C.B. Moss was last night in the intensive care unit of the Doctors Hospital after he collapsed during the Majority Rule ecumenical services at the St. Agnes Anglican Church yesterday, while a part of the procession at the start of the service. The service didn't even start yet. Instantaneously, people from all over and all these news outlets start to talk about the fact that, all right, C.B. Moss has passed away, C.B. Moss is this, C.B. Moss is that. And it's just, you know, in typical Bahamian style with the desire to kind of be the front runner for news, right? If it bleeds, it leads, and you want to lead with the situation. No, you ain't call nobody to find out nothing. You didn't kill the man. They're dead. So now it's circulating throughout the entire country. And now persons are saying his family had to come back and say it's not so. He's in this particular position. And we heard Father Cartwright talk about, when you continue to watch, that we should pray for him. Then I'm looking through Brave Stewart from Bimini was an avid listener to all my shows. He always called me. I had his personal number while he was in the United States of America. I'm reading the stories and understanding that he came back to Bimini and passed away in Bimini. And then I'm looking through again Reverend Reno Smith, who I know personally. There's prayers going out for him. can we say that there's something happening? Can we say that this is rather peculiar? We know that January has always been a transitional time for what we can expect in the year to come. Can you feel that this is a season of transition for growth? This is heavy. Are you prepared for it? And whilst all this is happening from the surface with who we are as a people, we then watch the celebration at the gravesite for the former Prime Minister, Lyndon Pinlin. And as we watch that, we watch Dame Margaret Pinlin speak specifically, and I think she had to kind of give clarity about her position, because we as a people could be extremely dismissive about this idea that she's old, let her say what she says. But she hit some salient points. I want to play that right now for you to be able to hear that. Hit that.
Because I'm feeling very, very something today. I don't like what I say, because nothing happened until Pinlin came on the scene. And I thank you for coming out today, but the leadership was so excited, they forgot I existed. But I just want to let you know I'm alive, doing well, have sound mind, and in good health, and waiting for all that is going to take place, because I do not like it, and I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell. I'm sorry. I cannot contain it any longer, because you're using this as a stepping stone, and I do not appreciate it.
Wow. We still love Pinlin, you know? And he's a great
I
man.
should hope so.
We do love him.
Because we're standing on his shoulders, and the other man who fought with him in the trenches. When the House of Assembly was dissolved in 1966, Pinlin was in London fighting the PLP's battle. When nomination day came, Pinlin wasn't even in the country to be nominated. I had documents prepared in case the magistrate decided not to accept his name in his absence. And I was ready with Cecil Wallace Whitfield, who was the then chairman of this party, who took me down to South Andros. But thanks be to God, the magistrate said it was okay, they will accept him in his absence. And I come here today in respect out of the work that my husband has done, along with his other fellow workers in this country. And I don't want anyone to use this to play him cheap, because I will not stand for it. I'm sorry, Mr. Prime Minister, I promise you I was going to behave. But I think you all should know who I am by now. And you owe me an apology, and I expect, Mr. Chairman, right now.
Let it simmer. Let's think about these things. I know that you've had significant conversations about these things ad nauseum. I know that in your small corners, here on the radio and different radio stations that you listen to, I know that you've been engaged about this. The headline leans with it. Dame Margaret Pinlin hits out at PLP. Former GG suggests party using Pinlin's legacy selfishly. And that's one paper. The other papers start to talk about, that's our paper, The Guardian. Make sure that you pick up your Guardian if you did not. Ensure that you do that to be able to be a part of these things. All right? And be informed. The other paper starts to talk about Mitchell blasted by Dame Margaret Pinlin. Now, this is near and dear to me, and I had to take it in my mind and my spirit. And the reason I did that is because, and I see you guys calling me, please give me a call, 325-4316, 325-4316, 422-4796, 422-4796. You have to know that I'm on the radio, right? So the reason I've always loved Dame Margaret Pinlin. Why? Why, Howard? It has nothing to do with policy. It has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with any of these things. She reminds me of my grandmother. She does. She's very articulate. She's poised. And she is very vocal. She knows what she means. She means what she says. Now, my grandmother is 95 years old now. She's going to be 95 this year, God spare. If she lives till December, she'll be there. And she's always been one to kind of speak to you with clarity. But as time would have it, because of separation, she has not necessarily always with us present in her mind. Talk to me. Let's just be very clear, okay? There's a there's a weight. She's drifting mentally in a state, right? So she would come and go. That's what old people say. She's come and go, right? So she'd be talking and she's come and go. But that is not the case here. The preamble of this conversation was, I'm of sound mind. I know where I am. I know who I am. I'm healthy, and I don't like this. Why now? Why now choose this particular time as we stand on the grave to be able to pay homage to a man who's done so much for this country, to be able to speak specifically to this? Why now? And I only draw a reference to her humanity and understanding that her time to transition may be drawing nearer, and the necessity to be able to say, do not use the legacy of a man who's fought so hard for this country, for the opportunities that we have and we celebrate right now. Don't use that as a stepping stone to your aspirations. And I don't think that this could be boxed in solely for Fred Mitchell, though she mentioned him in his particular capacity. I think a great deal of younger persons who have aspirations to move towards leadership are looking for a wagon, dead or alive, to jump on to give relevance to their position. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this with clarity. I remember when this started, and Fred Mitchell would have taken on a position to be able to give celebration. Now, I like the Honorable Fred Mitchell's response in his particular capacity. I do. He's also the chairman of the organization. I do love his response. I love the position that he's taken. We're going to listen to his response, then we're going to take a quick commercial break. Let's listen to his response, the Facebook response.
Acknowledge the presence of Dame Marguerite Pindling and all of you who have come today. Dame Marguerite, a new generation of Bahamians are here today who were not here a year ago, who were not here when this momentous occasion took place. And if any apology is due, it's due because of the goodness of our heart. It's due because we wanted to pay tribute to your husband. Yes, sir. And it's due because we wanted to move with a quick pace to ensure that that memory is etched in the minds and the collective history of our country.
Yes, sir. Come on.
No disrespect to you.
Sure.
We all are here to support you today. You remember when it was just you and I standing up here alone in this graveyard. It makes a difference to be in government. And our Prime Minister led us to a victory. So we are here in government today, 1 year later, much better off than we were a year ago.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I thank you for allowing this ceremony to go forward, and know that in our hearts, we love you, we support you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Foundation with Howard Grant. We're going to get back to these conversations. Give me a call, 325-4316, 325-4316. Hit me up at the text line, 422-4796, right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Let's take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The Foundation.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
Fidelity is concerned about your financial health as much as we're concerned about your physical health. We have free online banking, helpful management staff. Come and start your relationship today. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
Queen will go to heaven soon. She'll make her transition. I use that language because church folks know me. When she does, the energy on this planet is going to shift in so many ways. The whole Anglo-Saxon mentality. She's head of the Anglican Church. I think her days are numbered, but she owns more physical geography property than any human being on the planet. But when she closes her eyes, and as Ms. Kubin says, her voice is hushed with that last silence, something will sweep this planet, not just England or Europe. We're an offshoot of them as well, the United Kingdom. It's going to shift the energy around, and everything is going to seem crazy and different and without leadership because she's been in office for so long. So all churches, all denominations, all leaders, even political parties, everything is going to shift so abruptly and so almost stunningly that you won't be able to keep things together the way. It's going to have to be broken down and rebuilt.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. So happy to be in your company. Howard, where did you get that clip from? Howard, what are you playing? Who is this? Let's read it so you can be able to see exactly what's what. I told you, I listen to some peculiar stuff, right? And this is Bishop Pearson. He says that the Queen of Elizabeth, and this was all the way from February 28th, 2022. This was February of last year, okay? Now, we're not saying this is prophecy. We're not coming here to release this kind of information to you. But if you are conscious enough, if you are quote unquote woke enough, and you have your eyes open, not only and your flappers are off, right? You're not like a horse with his blinders on. If you're looking at the peripheral from a spiritual and a physical position, you would recognize that there is a shift about us. Talk to me. Talk to me. If you're up, let's be very clear about this. Whether or not you acknowledge the spirituality that exists in this particular space, there is a shift about us. Things that you would have depended on and looked forward to are no longer a pillar that holds up anything. There's a shift. There's a shift that's happening here. And we're seeing that with representations in the physical and the spiritual and business and every aspect of our society. Today we're having a conversation about the shift that's happening with majority rule. There's a great deal of conversations happening about the fact that, do we acknowledge this? Is it real? Do we just have self-governance? Why do we always put Berlin and Pinland? That's a conversation that we've been having. It's the same conversation over the past 49 years that we've been having. Let's be more decent. Over the past 45 years that we've been having. Okay? And that has changed absolutely nothing year in, year out. The exact same conversation. They perpetuated this idea with the establishment of Majority Rule Day as a holiday. So now we're seeing even more of these conversations come to the forefront. But it's the same thing. And while you're having the same conversation, different things are happening in the environment. And all I want to know is, do you feel it? Do you see it? And are you prepared to make a move? Be a part of the conversation, 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit me up, 422-4796, 422-4796. There's a caller on the line. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead.
A pleasure. Good morning, Mr. Howard Grant.
Hey, what's up, Sparky?
Radio. Now, first of all, let's go back to 69.
Okay.
We talk about Majority Rule Day.
Okay.
Now, it's a fact that back in 1969, 1969, 85% of the Bahamian people voted for the PLP to come into power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had what we called then the UBP
Mm-hmm.
against the PLP, only two parties there at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the people in this country were the black Bahamian people, but there were also some bright or Kaukichu Bahamian people.
Father Cartwright told us yesterday it was a poor, disenfranchised white Bahamians.
right, but there were also bright Bahamians that voted for the PLP.
Yes.
It was not only the Bay Street Boys.
Yes.
They had their crew. They didn't want nothing to ever change in life. In fact, things have never changed. They still own everything.
Mm-hmm.
We still buying property and everything from them.
Mm-hmm.
They still own practically every piece of property on Bay Street. And nearly all of the eastern front of the island of New Providence, they still own all of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a little shop down Bay Street, you rent from one of their families.
Mm-hmm.
Still to this day. When PLP won, I think it was Mr. Norman Solomon that congratulated Mr. Pinland and said, congratulations, sir. You won this little house down on Bay Street, but we own everything around you, and you still going to be coming to us to borrow everything you want. Sugar, salt, everything. The Albedas, St. Pritchard, the Kellys, and them still own the majority of everything in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, now what I'm saying, when we come down to Majority Rule Day, is this a PLP holiday or a Bahamian holiday?
You tell me.
I don't know, because from what happened yesterday, it seems as if we're still talking PLP, because majority of those people in the S&M were also PLPs.
Mm-hmm.
The Cecil Wallace Whitfield and Arthur Folks and Orville Turnquist and all of those that went over that had a disagreement with Mr. Pinland and formed the BDP then and eventually joined up in the UBP and became the FNM. Those were PLPs as well. So now when we celebrate this majority rule, we celebrate as a Bahamian holiday.
But you can't stop the PLP. See, whether they're in or out of office, Fred Mitchell took a wreath down there to the mausoleum or to the gravesite of the former Prime Minister Lyndon Pinling, and we would see that all over the Bahamas.
Yes, I understand that. Let me get me clear now.
Okay, go ahead.
I am a PLP all my life. I grew up in the Valley. Now, you know, if you grew up in the Valley, automatically you was PLP.
Okay.
Very few FNMs is in the Valley. Now, I also grew up in a family called the Fountains, who grew up around the UBB time, but I grew up under the other side of my family, the Menzies, them from Camp Road. So I had PLP and FNMs and UBPs in my family. I'm 71 years old, but I grew up at 18 when I was able to vote for the first time. I started voting PLP. I still vote PLP today.
So what's your position on this entire thing that we've seen transpire yesterday?
But that's what I'm coming at. That's what I'm coming at now.
Okay, let me hear it.
Because what I'm saying is, the PLP at a party, they gonna pick any. I wish they'd pick the church state. The queen is and the king is still head of church and state. Once we are a member of the Commonwealth, he is still head of church and state. The state church of the Bahamas is Christ Church Cathedral, the Anglican Church. And then in England is the what is it, Abbey Cathedral, whatever the name of that church is in England. We came out of that when we became independent. So what happened is the PLP has the right every year, or whoever government is, we can also go to the mausoleum of A.D. Hanna, Milo Butler, any one of them, and put a flag up there, and we can say we come in to pay homage to our fallen father of the nation and celebrate national hero, majority rule day.
Yeah.
Because all of those were members of the governing party at that time.
Okay.
Not only the Pinland family.
I accept what you say.
I think we have honored the Pinland family all of our life, and I think we still honor them. I am Marguerite Pinland. But to me, I believe that when the Governor General has reached the highest point in the land, there comes a time when you call retirement. Orville Turnquist rose from PLP to FNM, the Governor General, retired. Ivy Dumont retired and everything. We don't see them all over the place raising all kind of hell, making you don't know who I am this and I am that. It's time to go home. Let the young people, the young leaders now, take this over and run the country, whether they be Mr. Pintan, FNM, or Mr. Davis, PLP. Let the young people take over now. Go home, go on a cruise, go spend some time with your grandchildren and enjoy life. We still love you.
Yes, yes.
We still love you, Miss Penland. We still know you there. When you come to St. Agnes Church every Sunday morning, you still sit in the front pew. You still got a chauffeur. We still taking care of you. We still love Obi and all the children. We still love you all. Yeah. But we don't have to bow down to you all for the rest of our lives.
Is that what it was? And Sparky, I really do appreciate your telephone call. I got some more calls coming through, so thank you so very kindly for that. Is that what it was? Is that what it was though? Is it? Was she saying that you have not acknowledged us enough? I didn't get that from her. And I didn't get this kind of an idea that she is in a right sound mind. And there has been something that transpired. Whatever this thing is, that no one speaks to specifically, that made her extremely uncomfortable. Let's see if we can read a couple of these texts. Guys, please give me text. 422-4796, 422-4796. Howard, please let Juan McCartney go now, right? I laughed at that earlier, but this is to Sparky's point. The principle that I operate on, the principle that I acknowledge, that I believe will give me that kind of longevity that I seek in any space that I'm in, whilst I exist here on earth, is a principle of honor. There are many men and women that afford you opportunities that you have to be able to acknowledge them. That's a principle. The principle says, honor your father and mother. I believe for the longevity that we seek, we need to honor our forefathers and mothers who've established this country. Yeah, I don't know if we should be able to draw it out, but we have to give acknowledgement to know that we're building on this particular thing. And so that's what I do right now, right? So don't diss me in that kind of, that space. So I in particular, prophets in long white robes have been warning about it for decades. It's called macaroni, fried chicken, and no vegetables or exercise. And age don't help, right? I suppose you're talking about death, right? So it says, Howard, morning. We now know who blocked Morning Penland from running. LOL, right? So it's feelings of remorse build up against Mitchell. But what about Byron and folks? Imagine how their families feel, Dean. Guys, please give us a call, 325-4316, 325-4316. Hit us up with the text, 422-4796, 422-4796. Let's go to the line. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, my brother. What's happening?
I'm giving thanks. Howard.
Yeah, man.
Tell me now, what is majority rule?
In what sense? The majority, I believe that it's a day that they've identified the transition where there was rule from the minority class into a majority class, where there was a shift in the country. I believe that that's the day that we actually celebrate that, to know that we had the strength as a people to make that kind of a transition.
If you look at if you research the dictionary or Wikipedia, that's not majority rule. Majority rule is just a vote. Mm-hmm. You know, when the majority of the people, vote, have the majority of the power. It has nothing to do with color or ethnicity. Mm-hmm. It's just the power of the vote. Mm-hmm. And so I say to you, when all behemoths, that majority rule was ushered in 1961, when it became one man, one vote, and when the land was in vote, when the rich man, whether black or white, couldn't vote with the amount of land he had, when the land was in voting. One man, one vote. That's majority rule. Mm-hmm. That's the problem we have in this Bahamas. And as far as the PLP and going to and Lyndon Penland, man, there was FNMs too that were PLP at the time.
So what do you think the turmoil is?
PLP party.
What do you think the turmoil is in what has happened and transpired yesterday? Because it was uneasy. Normally, we come out of this time celebrating. Normally, the only kind of unease that we see is from the unions. Talk to me. The unions and their indifference.
Well, we can only speculate. The thing is, the what you call it, the reporters, the people that ask, the person that asks the lady herself.
Mm-hmm.
How could you speculate what she mean? You need to ask her what she mean.
Mm-hmm.
A good journalist would ask her what she mean.
Mm-hmm.
You see, how could you speculate what she mean? Only her knows what she mean.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your speculation, I feel, was a pretty good one. You know,
no, because I know, and I don't want to speculate, but I know the layout. And if she said that I can't take it anymore, God, pray for me. And she, this kind of agitation that she had, right?
Yeah, well, I see it. Okay, like the PLP, they just love to boast about majority rule and independent as some PLP thing, you know, and maybe that's what she means. You know,
okay.
They keep using that to come back to power, you know, and you know. We need some true majority rule. I used to the guy from Morning Blend. He talk about a referendum day. Hello.
Yeah, I'm right here.
I think that would be a real majority rule when people are able to vote to bring legislation, not to bring the legislators, not to choose the legislator, but to choose the legislation themselves. That's majority rule. That's vote.
I like this.
We don't have majority rule in here. We have minority rule. They just black people. We have black people ruling, and the majority of them are black. The rulers of the Bahamas, majority of them are black people, but they're not the majority of the people. We don't rule. Okay, wow. So that's my 5 cents on that. And see, what I feel like. Okay, this thing about Lynden, Pinland, and even the PLP, especially they like to talk about the father nation, Lynden, Pinland, and like how the lady says that it wasn't for him, that it came about when he came up. I mean, I don't buy that. You know, majority rule movements and independent movement, that was a global thing.
Okay.
That was a global thing. That only didn't happen in the Bahamas, it happened everywhere.
This is what I was talking about.
Right,
because
these people, Lynden, Pinland, and them, they were just a class of people that were educated and put themselves up front. There were hundreds of Bahamians who were capable of doing what Lynden, Pinland did, or there were PLPs that were leaders in the party that did it. Come on, man. They were not only educated folks in this country.
Okay. I like it. I like what you're saying, my brother. Thank you so much for your telephone call. And, you know, we got some more people out there who won't be able to chime in on the conversation. But 52, you hit it right on the head. I mean, let's just shoot straight. And let's not curb the thing. The fact of the matter is that there was a change that was ushered in globally. Globally, during this particular time, we hear stories about fights that ensued. We hear civil unrest. We hear about these particular things that happen globally. Whether it's a civil rights movement, what happened? This was not isolated specifically to the Bahamas. And you know what's an amazing thing for me? Let me tell you what's amazing. We didn't have this kind of connectivity that we have now. This kind of instantaneous connectivity for our phones, for our this, for our that. But there was an unspoken spirit released globally that agitated us to move towards liberation. Instantaneously, we knew it's time, baby. Let's fight. And some were willing to be able to stand. They fought, blood and tears. And some fought with advocation and with quiet revolutions. And some fought. Come on, listen. This happened globally. But my question to you is, what's happening globally now? Let's talk about these things. Give me a call, guys, 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit me up, 422-4796, 422-4796, right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, The Foundation with Howard Grant. Let's take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The new Guardian Radio app is here. Listen live to all our Guardian Radio shows and live video stream select programs in our studio. Get information about Guardian Radio shows and our hosts. Send messages including text, email, and even call. All from our amazing new Guardian Radio app. Download it free today in your App Store for your Apple device or Play Store for your Android device. The all-new and improved Guardian Radio app.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
Indecency is what you're texting me. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in. 96.9 FM radio, the foundation with Howard Grant right here. Let's have a good conversation. Listen, I just only want to tickle your thoughts. That's all. I only want to be able to get past that quilt of superficial conversations and that mundane thing that we've continued. That's stagnant for me. That's like stagnant water. It already got moss and mildew on it. Let's dive deeper. Let's dive deeper and trouble the waters and see whether or not we get somewhere with the thing. If not, let's push the whole conversation off the table. And the only thing I want to know is whether or not there is a significant shift at this 50th year juncture. All right? Do you feel, do you see, is your eyes open to the fact that there is a shift that's happening at this 50-year juncture? As much as tradition tried to be able to anchor itself in this position, right? As much as tradition tries to be able to say, we're not going anywhere, time and that relentless commitment is ushering things in and pushing some things that, listen, talk to me. Sometimes you get some stiff necks that refuse to move out of the way. And time, with its grace and strength, because what Grammy say? Time longer than rope. Let's shoot straight. Hit me up with the text 422-4796, 422-4796, or hit me up on the telephone line, 325-4316. That's 325-4316. Howard, the Honorable Fred Mitchell was very diplomatic and respectful in his reply. I personally don't feel like he was using the occasion as a stepping stone, so Lyndon's contribution can never be erased from our history. His image is on our dollar bill. The airport is named after him. Everyone must bear in mind that he was not God or his son, Jesus Christ. Thou shalt have no other God before me, or graven image. Maybe it's odd to your situation. Fred Mitchell, let's read it. Fred Mitchell has always demonstrated that he has no limits to his disrespect. Y'all need to stop. I'm reading a text, ladies and gentlemen. It says, the PLP has watered this behavior with their silence because he most often did it to people outside of the PLP. The same fellow who disrespected Dr. Miles Monroe. The chickens have come to roost. And remember, after he rudely disrespected others in his voice notes, he ends by saying, remember, PLP all the way. Shameful and disgraceful. This is a text that we're reading, guys. And just remember that we're all observers here nationally. We're all observers. And we are, whilst others mark the bearing of our nation, we mark the bearing of our leadership. to make an identification to determine whether or not we're going to go with this person or that person the next time around, right? Happy Wednesday, Howard. I see all majority rule as an idolized worship for Sir Lyndon L.O. Pindling in the graveyard, not as a national celebration of the day. Let's take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Now, this is something that I saw happen in the afternoon. For the 50th anniversary, no dissident aid was invited. I saw Dr. Dollison. He said they didn't invite him. So she didn't let it slide. She was there in 67 in the struggle and the fight. She's supposed to lay the wreath first. It's her husband, her grave. She helped make majority rule, and I'd be upset too. My mother probably would run everybody from that grave. That's her grave. That's her husband, and either this was even let Loretta honor her granddaddy, Glennis honor her daddy. They was part of the struggle. She said it was more than Finland. That's what she was saying. The new crowd can't wait to show off. Let Finland, she ain't dead, she ain't dying. This is her. She is still, first lady. What other word to use? She's our first lady. That was the first lady. But she says she was upset that they didn't even for her as to lay a wreath to her husband funeral, to her husband's grave. They had to sit down like she old and feeble. And I don't blame her, because my mother would have run everybody from that grave, because she said this she in charge and this her grave. But she didn't let them know that she was hurt. Therefore, they'd be the same thing. But other folks wasn't invited.
But it seems as though she said that before them, because she said, "I sorry, Prime Minister, I promise you I would behave." Right? She said that.
She can hold that in. And she was slighted.
But doesn't mean that she spoke about it.
I think that she's doubting.
Yeah.
Why she cannot lay a wreath at her husband's grave? Because she said she was there in 67 with him fighting in the war.
And she recalled the whole thing. She said he wasn't even here for nomination day, and I had to go to the magistrate.
Know who she is. See, remember, I would go back to the F&M 50th anniversary at the Big Jumper Church. No dissident aid was there. The party started in 92 with Papa. See, they let that go by. And our folks ain't say a word. All his children. My daddy was part of this Richardson life. That day in 72. She said 67. She remember. She said, dear Margaret, when she living on what's the word name? Where she used to live? By where the graveyard is. The F&M come to do a coup d'etat in her house to kidnap me, make Finland sign a note. She had to call her to Camp Road, the 9 Road. Where she used to live on? What the word name by the graveyard?
Infant Viewing?
No, right here on Soldier Road.
So okay.
Finland Soldier Road house. The F&M didn't come there to take over the party. And she had to call, and the house save her children, called Camp Road, 9 Road, them run to the house and push back Bobby Watkins them. But she knows to fight. She's a general. She's a 4-star general in the political war of this party.
I think she's a 5-star general. Yeah. I think she's 5-star.
I don't blame her. Don't purge when you're dead. Talk now, Lady Finland. Anybody else?
My God.
You was wrong.
That's heavy what you're saying.
Don't purge in the coffin.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate your telephone call. Don't talk later. Too much men in this country. And you know what's heavy? Is that you would hear men who have similar sentiments to be able to agitate for a position. They say that I ain't gonna say nothing until I dare. I can put it in my memoir. But this is a woman, again, leading the charge to say that let's say what we need to say now and deal with it. We got a lot of texts coming through. We got a lot of calls coming through. Be a part of the conversation. 325-4316, 422-4796. Let's take a break right here on the Foundation 96.9 FM radio. Let's take a break for news and be right back after that.
The foundation. Foundation.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send picture direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas, then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Island.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, the foundation with Howard Grant in your company, having good conversations with you, just kind of chopping it up about what has transpired yesterday, right? And whether or not you're seeing what I see. Well, you know, I don't know, cuss me out. Tell me, how would you get too that ain't all of that. Tell me that. But what I see is an indifference. What I see is a transitional point. What I see is that we've come to a road, to a fork in the road. As a nation, as a people, as individuals, in leadership, in all aspects, we have come to a fork in the road, a Y in the road, a juncture, strategic inflection, that we must make a decision. The decision to be able to take a left, a right, or I don't know. There's no way that you can go forward with this. There's no way after you would engage what you see that you could remain the same. So things are going to change one way or the other. You can only be able to progress and get better or digress and get worse. So the question is, what position are we taking? Let's read a couple of these texts. I got a few more texts, guys. Please give me a call. 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit me up with the text 422-4796, 422-4796. Let's read this. There's a couple of it says Sparky sounds like he have a vibe, Howard. But does he realize that he's defending Fred and the PLP crooks? This is heavy what you're saying, right? You can't call the people crooks. Howard, Miss Pending sounds like she's upset because they did some type of ritual or ceremony over her husband's prestigious Prime Minister Pending's grave, and I don't think anyone would want someone doing that on their family member's grave, right? I don't know. I didn't get that from that. Majority rule is one man, one vote. In the past, your right to vote was based on land ownership. After majority rule, we didn't need land to vote. What is all of this hullabaloo about? We talked about the fact that what is majority rule, right? We talked about what this concept and idea of what majority rule is. And I think it's commemoration, an identified day and time to be able to celebrate, to be able to recognize and commemorate some of the men and women that would have fought for us to be able to enjoy this day. The country that we know is not as a result of just, letting it happen, but there was a few men and women that stood together, joined forces to make this thing happen that we call the Bahamas today. So I believe that this is in commemoration for them. And I agree with a great deal of the callers that call in to saying, well, Howard, it cannot only be one-sided. It cannot only be lopsided from the perspective that says that we celebrate and identify what has been done from Elo Pending's perspective. But why don't we do some other things? And let's read it in the newspaper today. Right on the page A8 of the Nassau Guardian, we'll be able to see from the Butler Legacy Foundation says, we, the descendants, and this is half page, we, the descendants of Sir Milo Borton Butler would like to commemorate Sir Milo Butler's role in the fight for majority rule in the Bahamas on Majority Rule Day as we march towards our 50th year of independence as a nation. And that's from the Butler Legacy Foundation. There are men and women that fought for our country. And whilst we continue to be able to tilt it or tip this kind of scale towards Elo Pinlin as one of the forerunners in the leadership capacity, he had significant support. Let's take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Well, Howard Grant, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, Graham?
Happy New Year. And
I was just about to read your text. I might as well tell you the truth. But go ahead. You tell them what you want to say.
Well, happy New Year and congratulations.
Thank you, my brother.
I just got back in town. And I'm looking at a lot of chaos. But your show on, we've reached the T-junction. I believe that's what you had mentioned.
Yes.
And it feels even worse than that. It feels we've been brought to the promised land, but it's now time for the next generation to cross over. And maybe some of the old generation can't make that journey. Maybe God has the vision for just the next gen to take over and do that for us. You know, I'm seeing more of what I've seen my whole life growing up. I'm not seeing people say, I want to run, and here is my idea on how to better the country. It's all, your party ain't no good and mine is better. And my party brought us this far. Well, there was fathers of the nation, your daddy inclusive, that brought the country to where it's at. Couldn't have majority rule with one man. So we need to get beyond some things, and we need to move in the direction where people are saying, like today, it's hard to make a phone call in my country. And I am in the center of the hemisphere. Most people, we don't even show children a globe anymore or a map. We're in the middle between North and South America. You know how potent that is? This country could be a solar-powered, because where we're put, God has fixed us, we're straight. We could be a solar-powered tech hub by simply allowing somebody to run a piece of wire, fiber, through our ocean floor. We could negotiate free internet, 5G. Can you imagine you buy that new smart TV, put it in your house, plug it in, and you don't need a set-top box. You don't need a cable modem. You need no wires in your house. That's 5G TV with smart. The first thing it wants you to do is connect to Wi-Fi, right? What if Wi-Fi was everywhere over this whole country at 5G speeds? Your cell phone, your computer, your laptop, your tablet, your smart TV would just work. See, that's where we should be. We should be moving the country with people, I don't want to say leaders, with just visionary people.
And
like
whilst we celebrate majority rule, the minority that are some of the security guards or policing the majority of the wealth in this country, watch me, they will never let that happen.
Let me ask you, no, because if you let people have access to that level of education, which is data, you can't control them.
Okay.
Let me ask you, seriously, we're coming up on 50 years, right? Now, the majority of this country is not the rich, correct?
Right.
Used to be the middle class, soon to be the poor. Could you tell me, what are the majority ruling other than poverty? And I say that with all due respect.
They
Because
managing poverty.
We should have been ruling the natural resources.
Come on, man, you're talking.
Huh?
You're talking.
Well, I'm going to talk plenty, and if they don't like me, that's fine.
Yeah,
It's a new
because what this is
opportunity
managing
every day.
poverty to ensure that poverty keeps its you're just over broke. Talk to me. You're just over broke,
That's right.
right?
Well, I'm not hearing one politician tell me how they're going to make a few thousand people. We got a few 100,000 people. We're not a country with 50 or 100 million people, or even 3 million, like people in the Caribbean. I should have somebody coming forward saying, I'm going to make everybody in this country stupid rich. Now, I want to hear how. I'm not going to call you crazy, Howard. I'm going to say, how, sir? And if I dare tell you, that my friend C. Alan Johnson could come and tell you 10 different ways to do it. And that's the type of people I want to be talking to me about my future. I don't want someone talking to me about the past will be my future. I know my past. I want to know about my future now. And see, this generation like you are expecting to hear something different than your parents would have told you, correct?
Yeah, because I can't keep hearing the same thing.
Well, I'm trying to be so politically correct and nice. I got to watch every word, but I'm doing it. But this year, I think, is the year of transition, and it's happening. You know, we should have a country with no electricity bills or very little bills.
Yeah.
Because of the sun. Simple things that have been spoken to forever have not been listened to, but now are coming to a head to be listened to, because if you don't have energy, security, reliability, affordability, and sustainability, you have nothing. You have no cell phone to call on matters of immigration. Okay? That thing needs electricity. You have no education. You have nothing without energy. That's why I spoke about it for so long.
Well, I want to speak about it more with you, Graham. You know that you and I are always in contact and always in conversation. So let's see if we can be able to etch out a time to talk about energy and how we can be able to move that.
Sounds great. And let me leave you with this one thought. If you're not telling us next election how you're going to fix the country, and specifically, and empower us in doing so, I think you're going to have yourself some problems.
Yeah.
But good show, good topic.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Thank you, my brother. I do appreciate your contribution. Telephone call. Guys, 325-4316, 325-4316, 422-4796. That's the text line, 422-4796. So the texter says, Howard, please read my text so I can go in the food store. All right? So, okay, I'll read your text. Let's read the text, right? So it says, good afternoon, Howard. Just wondering, can you imagine the work, sweat, and tears Dame Margaret put into her husband's career? She needs to be upset. And it needed to be said. She's absolutely right. If women had the right back then and was respected, trust me, she could have been the prime minister. Majority of these men aren't spit. And she ain't put spit. Praise. She said the majority of these men ain't spit without their wives. Trust me. I agree with you. I can't even lie. I've always looked at it. I told you that from afar, I just read these things and digest the information. And I recognize that for most of us as men, and this ain't a cop-out men, and if you ain't got a wife, don't fight me. But I got one. Amen? And all the men that I know with strength who have moved up significantly, socially and otherwise, they got one. But if you ain't got one, I hope you get one. Talk to me. If you're strong without one, my God, you can imagine where you go. You could fly when you get one. Amen. I just want to put that out there. But the majority of men, both locally and globally, that we've seen with any salt to their name and to their position has been fortified with a woman just whispering in the back of them. I don't think we would have ever seen a Bill Clinton. Talk to me. Never seen a Bill Clinton without Hillary Clinton. I don't think we would have ever seen that. If you watch a documentary, if you watch these particular things that know her contribution, I don't think we would have seen these persons. And so we must pay homage and be able to identify the women in our lives. Right? So I understand what the caller's saying, what the texter is saying. Let's see if we could be able to read. Tell Graham, stay on topic, man. Definitely no disrespect, but what about also nationally commemorating A.D. Hanna and Loftus Roker? How many accolades and compensations and privileges should one person get for majority rule? Does American independence celebrate only George Washington? Privilege is the problem. You know what I identify in this is us. I can celebrate my wife. I'm going to celebrate my wife. I'm going to celebrate my children. And I'm going to be able to continue to speak about my household and what we would have done, because I don't live in your house. And if you want to be able to celebrate your wife and your children and all those persons that support, that actually afforded you an opportunity, I think you should do that. My point. Political organizations need to be able to move away. There are certain men and women in your organization that transcended your political confinements. There are certain men in your and women in your organization that no longer belong to the colors that restrict them within the confines of your organization. They belong to the aquamarine, the black, and the gold. That's who they belong to. They're national heroes, and we should identify them as such. It should not only be during this particular time. And that doesn't just go for me. It doesn't just go for men and women. It goes for this kind of a support. Let me give you an example. In the papers today, you definitely could be able to pick up your paper, but in the papers today, it has a section in there. Because Freeport News is no longer in Grand Bahama, right? So there's a section in there that affords you an opportunity to be able to see the Freeport News from right here. I'm trying to pick it up. And it starts to talk about Sunwing. Today, it speaks about Sunwing. Let's see there. Grand Bahama Domestic Terminal opens services to service Sunwing passengers. Now, the first time this happened, it happened under the PLP. The first time we saw Sunwing come, and someone called me and correct me. Howard, you're wrong. The first time we saw Sunwing come, and it came under the PLP. And then there was a lull when the Free National Movement came in. We didn't see anything happen, whether it was with Gin Sumar or with the Sunwing, more specifically. And we knew that this was as an anchor for a relationship built within the organization, whether it was a relationship that the then Minister of Tourism had, which was Obi Wilshcombe in his particular capacity, or as a relation with the organization, the PLP organization and that administration. But we only see the Sunwing when the PLP in. And if this is going to be able to help us move from this kind of tributary period and position by being able to access relationships like this, it should not only be confined to certain organizations. Yeah, we can celebrate you and everything that you would have done. But the only time that we hear anything more specifically about Sunwing and Gin Sumar or anything happening in those areas is based upon relationships specifically. When are we going to get to a point that we're helping the community? When are we going to get to a nationalistic position to understand that our contribution, especially in this capacity, on this level, it cannot be confined to, well, I've done that. Because guess what? 1 day out of 7, you are going to leave us. But it shouldn't leave productivity. We shouldn't be left with a lull and a void because you're gone. We don't know how to connect things anymore. We don't know how to reach people. What? Jesus, he had all the answers. I hate that. I hate when we call agencies, more specifically government agencies, to try to find out something and the people on vacation. You got to wait till the people come off vacation to be able to get to these things. It shouldn't be. And just how we have conversations about governments are continuous, these things need to continue. Let's be able to put that in there. If you want to give us a call, 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit us up 422-4796, 422-4796. Please ask Graham, the village, we also have that, the cost of solar and a modest three-bedroom house. We're going to have more conversations about that. Majority means black people controlling. That's what I think. Right? These are checks that are coming through. Never wait until you go in public to trash your dirty laundry. Do you think I have something to do with Monique not being nominated? No, I have no qualms or no positions about that entirely. I have none. I might as well tell you the truth. I have no consideration about anything to do with Monique's nomination in South Andrews during that particular time, and whether or not this had any affiliation with it. In fact, I don't believe it does. That's just me personally. I don't believe it does. If you remember, there was a transition where the chairman now of the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, executive chairman, Picewell Forbes, was in a position. You remember? So let's not forget, Paiso was in this position, and there was talks about possibly Monique being able to get there and some things happening. Remember the conversation? And then Moxie coming up at the tail end. We remember these particular things. I don't think it had anything specific and strategic to do whether or not the chairman was holding them back. I don't believe it does. I don't know, but I said, if you ask me if I think so, I don't think so. So I said, so it says, behind every good man is a good woman. That's why by the time a man realizes the woman is no longer behind him, it's too late. Men are not as smart and cunning as women. Ma'am, what you need to do is filter this through decency. Amen. You won't start around. See, we're not talking about this. And all of us as men, we know that our strength comes from the support that we have in our homes. You remember when Darrell Miller said one time, you are run for president? I need to see you, your family. I need to see a family photo. You remember this? And we all laughed and chuckled in the country and we said, oh, ha, ha, ha. But we didn't understand what this represented, many of us. And what it represents for me is foundation, family. For me to engage you, you have to show me you know how to run your first business. And your first business is family. You got your wife, you got your children, you got your... That's family. All right, now you understand that you got responsibility, you got to take care of these particular things and give you an opportunity like that. 325-4316, 325-4316, 422-4796, 422-4796. Let's go to this telephone call. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, Howard, what's up, brother?
All is well, man. What's happening with you?
I am highly blessed, man. Happy New Year to you and to your family.
Thank you, man. Same to you and yours.
When you get, thank you. I received that. When you get some time, give me a call like Friday. I need to talk to you about something.
Okay, no problem. I got your
Something
number.
that I want to get up off the ground. But I want to, I was listening as I working. I was listening to a text who called there. The two texts. I call them 30 cents, Howard. Right? They said something about a ritual on Mr. Pinland's grave. I was there yesterday.
Okay.
All right? And let's Bahamian people in this country, let's put this one to rest. All right? Let's put this one to rest.
Nobody doing no obey on the grave. That's what you want to say. Go ahead.
Majority rule is not a PLP holiday.
But it's hard for you to say that.
All right? Now, it's not hard for me to say that.
No, let me say
it. You know what? Let me say this to you, Mr. Grant.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you why it's hard for me to say that. Because I realize that I think someone said that a lot of persons who started out with the Progressive Liberal Party, they went on to form the F&M, and Mr. Ingram is one of them. So you got Mr. Hanna, you got other people, you got like Mr. Roker, one of my mentors who I have the utmost respect for. Other people, and the narrative and the concept that a lot of Bahamians get because the PLP implemented majority rule is a PLP holiday. It's for all of us. We all are Bahamians, Mr. Grant, and people that need to come out of this political lens. You are a Bahamian. You are a black person. You are the majority. All right? This ain't no PLP holiday. And people, Mr. Grant, yesterday, the incident, I was there. And I can be real with you. All right? And I can be real with the Bahamian people. Miss Pinland didn't like her because her name wasn't on the program. And I understand that, but I don't want to get in that part of it. But at the end of the day, some of y'all people, before y'all decide to text, before y'all decide to give something to the world, because this radio talk shows be on the World Wide Web, whatever y'all give, be careful. Be very careful of how you talk about your country, whether you don't like the PLP or not. For someone to text and say something like that, no, man, we ain't living in that type of country.
You got me laughing. You know why? Because if the tables was turned, and this was the Free National Movement, and you wasn't there yesterday, you would be in the same position.
First of all,
talk to me. Let's be clear.
First of all, Howard.
Okay.
So I know myself, the Free National Movement don't recognize majority rule. Like
no, I'm just saying hypothetically. Hypothetically, you could say to me that you were there and that this is not a PLP holiday because you know what goes into it because of your affiliation with the PLP. All of us, many of us, are only observers. A lot of people don't even have contributions politically. And the only thing that we see year in and year out as it relates to Majority Rule Day, whether it is the PLPs marching collectively or Fred Mitchell taking on a position to put a wreath at the gravesite, this is what comes out in the media annually.
I understand that. And that's people's opinion. So, in other words, Mr. Grant, Labor Day is a PLP holiday too, I guess.
I couldn't say it is. I couldn't say it is. But for the observer on the outside.
Watch this. Watch this, Howard. On Labor Day, you have persons, myself, I wear my yellow. And you got people where they read F&M paraphernalias.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just how people feel. But majority rule is for every last Bahamian in this country. One vote, one man, one vote, or one woman.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you have a vote in this country, you are still the majority rule. We are the black people of this nation. And I said it this morning on Dwight Short. I'm going to leave you with this. You know why what has hurt me in this country as a Bahamian who contributes significantly back to this country is the black people, our own people, Howard, which we are the majority, who doing things, who going contrary, who killing one another. The majority, the black people. We be on the black crab syndrome now, Mr. Grant. We passed that stage. We were maybe that, but they call it black tie baby syndrome. And I need to stop, man. Bahamian people, we all are Bahamians. Whether we support a different political party or political divide, we are the majority, man. And we need to stop this politics. I keep telling people, Howard, and tell Bahamian people, realize that you live in a country and you're a Bahamian, and put the politics aside, ain't nothing gonna change. Nothing gonna change.
I appreciate your telephone call, my brother.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
Call me Friday, please.
I got your number. I'll give you a shout.
Thank you. You have a good one, sir.
Okay, no problem. Now, I just want to shoot straight. I don't like to, this ain't no lopsided situation. I just want to be very clear and come straight down the middle. This is my good friend. But I know that if the tables would turn, it would not be the exact same thing. If we're going to have a conversation like this, because there's observation that we see. It's only through observation. And a great deal of us are now trying to dissect what has happened yesterday through what we've seen in the media. And your proximity and position could defend that because you were there live and in person. But let's just be very clear. What we see and what transpired, what came forward, says that there's an unrest. There's a troubling at the core of this. And there needs to be some things fixed. Now, any other organization, political or otherwise, can recognize that, all right, I need to be able to commemorate these things. But we as a people have kind of backed off from this idea of being able to celebrate majority rule. I just kind of yielded and left it to the PLP. And if we're being honest, the question can be whether or not this was strategic to always kind of commemorate what the PLP has done over time. Whether they're in office or not, they'd always be able to have this day as an anchor for celebration. Let's talk about it like that. Let's take a next text. It says, Howard, just to emphasize my previous text, that our history has been captured by the PLP. Consider the national colors. Those colors are also the PLP colors. Okay. Those colors are also the PLP colors. They should change. If I wear red, everyone is upset. But the PLP yellow can be worn nationally because it's also national colors. The PLP has hijacked the nation. Oh, Jesus. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think these are just superficial stuff that people are actually assuming, but I don't agree with that. I think there's significant commemoration with the sun, sand, and the sea, and the black for the people, so forth. I don't necessarily agree with that. And I believe that for us to be able to trouble the waters of that establishment could be indifferent. What we can do, change the color of the flag? Let's go. So it says, PLPs act like the country belonged to them and them alone. Right? So there's another text that says, Howard, who was that ungodly woman that belittling men with those texts? Seems like she's leading the feminist movement, right, y'all? Don't row over text. Stop it, right? It says, Howard, I watched the F&M celebrate the 50th anniversary without inviting any of the dissident 8 who is still alive. Shameful. Dame Margaret went meant that she should have Loretta lay a wreath of Sir Milo, Cecil Waller's first wife, Beverly. She's still alive. She should have laid a wreath for him. Glennis for A.D. Hanna, etc., Loftus Roker, he could have spoken at the event. He was there. It takes the initiative. I think we could lend suggestions relentlessly. Endlessly, we could give suggestions. But the fact of the matter is that it takes the initiative, that step to be able to move towards these things, right? This is 50 years of independence and BPL broke. Highlight bills in the country with free sunshine, breeze and sea, current, water and sewage broke, national insurance broke, educational system broken, society deteriorating. Like these bad roads we are riding on, we need a new direction. Period. Any Bahamians feel disenfranchised in their beautiful country, may God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, a country where the wealth ain't common. Wow. Let's take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Golly, there's this dark in a waste along with you, Howard.
Hey, what's up, famous?
We need justice law and order in this country. You know, I like your last text, okay?
Yeah.
The thing is, there are too much politics being, how I should put a word, being heralded, too much about politics being heralded in the Bahamas. We don't need that. We need a focus. We need a heads up to see where to go. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The same old, and the same old people all the time. Who needs that? People need help.
Mm-hmm.
All the sick people, the hospital and stuff like that, in the hospital and stuff like that. You know, a lot of things happening in this country whereby people need to focus on other than politics. You talked about who did what and, you know, brought in independence and things like that, majority rule.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, those people that voted, they're the people what's happening, okay? Those people that went in the House of Assembly, those 28 or 32, whatever, they did nothing about other than make noise to cause people to vote for them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Some people love them and some didn't. Some people look at the country. The thing is, and after looking at the country in which we all lived in, they voted, okay? We don't want to hear anymore about politics, not in this kind of time when people are suffering and nobody is trying to help them. Politics. And guess what? The thing is, they carry on like it's only black people, the white people, the brown people, all of them were part of it. So, those foolishness, what you all is coming with on the radio, gotta stop.
You gone? Okay, so I didn't cut you. Guys, let's take this quick commercial break and be right back on The Foundation right here on 96.9 FM radio. So happy to be in your company. We'll be right back after this.
The Foundation. The Foundation. Foundation.
At Popeyes, get the chicken sandwich you love, but make it blackened. Marinated in Popeyes blackened seasoning, that is. Our new juicy filet is fried to perfection without the breading, served on a toasted brioche bun. Try it today as a combo or a la carte. Don't forget to choose your level of spice today at any one of our 3 locations.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Banquet fidelity, it's good for you and me. It means a lot to own a lot in paradise. We have beautiful islands for you to choose. Come and get advice to live in paradise. Lot loans with fidelity, we're good for you.
Here we go. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protected since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You'll always cover me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant right here on 96.9 FM radio, having great conversations about where we are nationally, whether or not we're moving forward, whether or not our eyes are open to see that there is a significant transition happening, whether or not we've come to a realization that we've hit this kind of proverbial fork in the road to make a decision to either progress, push forward, march on Bahama land, forward, upward, onward together, or whether or not we're content with this kind of lackadaisical position and this kind of a comfort that we're at right now, right? That's all the conversation is. I got a text that came through. It says, hello, Howard, great show. The public did not have to know that there was a problem. I wonder if Lady Pindon addressed what she was upset about prior to Majority Rule Day. There seems to be a breakdown in communication and the timing was off. So that's a text that came through. All right. Let's see if we can be able to read a couple more of these things. So it says, and guys, please forgive me. I know a lot of persons are kind of hitting me and saying, Howard, you should give 30 seconds for this, 15 seconds for that, so forth and so on. But definitely after we make modifications and strength and do what we have to do with our lines, everyone will be able to get in there. So forgive me for that. Right. It says, and Howard, how can DeWitt not say that it's not political when they were shouting PLP all the way yesterday? When they were saying PLP all the way yesterday. It says, it's Howard, man, DeWitt on him out. He just know that we're all behemoths now since the election. Right? It's just, oh my, how the tables turn. What about Anton? Where is he? Right? It's a text that just came through. It says, Howard. Let's be able to read this, right? It says, Howard, I only have one concern. Why in the world they didn't make an executive decision to celebrate on Monday? I'm mixed up like Kong salad now. They have to think about the psychology of the physiological effects, psychological effects that celebrating holidays in the middle of nowhere would even have on our children in school. Celebrating on another day doesn't make it less significant. Persons have to go to work. This messes up their weekly flow. I really thought today was Monday. I mean, I must tell you, it felt like Sunday. I really thought today was Monday, right? There's no need to stick to the calendar date of celebration, right? So that's a text that came through. All right. It says, good morning, Howard. Majority Rule Day must be liberated from the PLP if it will ever be celebrated nationally. Additionally, Sir Lynden Pindon was only one of many men and women who made Majority Rule possible. Some of them became F&Ms. We should celebrate the men and women, not a party, since that divides this issue. Let's take a telephone call. Carly on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Mr. Grant.
Hey, how you doing?
Sorry I had to call you back, but you know something? I think this is a new year headed to a change, you know. Because what I have to say could really be profound. Let me tell you something. Mr. Grant, I see down Bay Street they crumbled, they imploded the what building name that the standard was? Across the road, Rawson.
Yes. They put
the Churchill building.
Yeah, the Churchill building.
Okay, they took that down, right?
Mm-hmm.
They took down that our big post office was supposed to last us at least 3,000 years. Now, if that was built properly, that's supposed to be a landmark forever.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting ready to move the central bank.
If they didn't take that down, it'd kill 3,000 people. Things are falling out of the ceiling.
The cement was dropping on your head right on in the balcony. But now, look what I'm saying is, we going into 50 years, and they told me that the health of the nation is the wealth of a nation. We still patching one old hospital. And we thinking about building a new Senate building, a new House of Assembly, because Mr. Mitchell say raps in there, a new a central bank, because for some reason they need a better central bank. But we patching up a hospital. Don't you think that the health of the nation is the wealth? The first thing I think that this country need to be doing is building the best modernized hospital with all the proper equipment, because we got the best doctors we sent off to schools, came on top of their grades wherever they were. They beat up all kind of foreign doctors, and we still got to bring foreign doctors in here and foreign consultants in here to advise us what to do in the country. And whenever we send our children off to college and university, we are top of the grades. Why are we important consultants to tell the top of the grade children how to run our country? Why don't we have the best hospital in the Caribbean where people from around the world can come here to be treated by the best doctors? The best thing we should do to this country for our next 50 years, I'm not going to be here. I'm 71.
It's a hospital.
Modernized hospital first.
Okay. I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. I do apologize about that. I didn't mean to cut you like that. But I appreciate your telephone call, and we definitely, I hear you. I know that the Free National Movement and the PLP started to talk about the idea of being able to build and modernize our hospital system. We see that some things are happening in Grand Bahama. But I agree with you 100%, Sparky. I wanted you to get that out. But we definitely have some more persons that we want to be able to kind of reach. So it says, Howard, they need to stay out of the graveyard if they are not going to the graves of all of the players for majority rule. That's the thing that comes there. That's the majority of the sentiment that's coming through today. Howard, please read your personal WhatsApp line. What? Hold on. I read your text. It says, I'm disappointed at what happened yesterday. I think the Dame should have dealt with the outburst behind doors. It's too much. Can we chalk this up with collective clarity and looking through the lens of the oldest person in your family? If you remember growing up, as you reach past a particular juncture, there could be no expectation that the patriarchs or the matriarchs of our family would hold their tongue anymore. And we've always, as a nation, as a people, recognized that the diplomacy that they held that we held them for in high regard when we were younger, as they grew older, they dropped that. Child, I'm 78 now. I ain't got time to hold my tongue for nobody. Boom. And they tell you exactly what they have to say. If you're mad, just stay mad. If you ain't mad, because they're not angry. They're not angry with you. And I don't feel like the Dame was angry yesterday. I feel like she wanted to say this. I feel as though, if you listen to what she said to the Prime Minister, I apologize. I said to you I would not say anything. Y'all pray for me. And then she went into these particular things. This is a woman of sound mind. But she knows that there is no guarantee that she'll be here for the next go round. So let's fix this now. Now, I guarantee you the organization would make the significant modifications to ensure that they accommodate her. Listen to me, she's one of the founding ladies of the organization. And she deserves to be able to have a day in court, to be able to speak the way that she's done. So it says none of these people would have their position without the people. They always leave us out of the equation and catch feelings as of we're the only ones that progressed our country. Without the people, they would not have been any position. Okay? Majority rule is a twisted discussion. The PLP had to be dragged into the reality that the Bahamians are not black, that all Bahamians are not black, until we became the majority in benefiting from what the Bahamas has to offer. What the Bahama, what is, let's see if we can read this again. Majority rule is a twisted discussion. The PLP had to be dragged into the reality that all Bahamians are not black, until we become the majority in benefiting from what the Bahamas has to offer. We are playing. P.S. Historically, white Bahamians are more nationalistic in their participation in this country. Okay? I like that, you know. I like that, what they say. The white majority, the white Bahamians are more nationalistic. I think I agree with that. Why? Why do you? I agree with it because we have been conditioned as the black majority in this country to view through the lens of a political organization. More specifically, the PLP. We have been conditioned to identify the strength and the liberty that we enjoy today has been delivered to us by the PLP. That's our conditioning. And many of us who have left the PLP over the course of time, whether you join the FNM or you become independent, by default, we recognize the PLP in this particular capacity. Let me see if I can take a few more telephone calls before we get out of here. Caller, you on the line with us live?
What are you doing?
I'm good, man. What's up?
All is done. I spent almost 5 minutes. But
I apologize, man. No, there's only one line. Don't fight me. There's only one line. We can do. There's only one line, so forgive me for that. Go ahead.
All right. They said, I disagree. What I heard in Lady Margaret's message, I ain't say I disagree. Sorry, but my point of take, what I heard was, I heard arrogance. I heard her entitlement, a sense of entitlement. As others had pointed out, there were other people who contributed, and it's like independent. Majority rule or the black ruling will come any other that goes to Linden, or 5 years down the line, we would have achieved it. Now, he just happened to be the instrument that God used. And the house is no greater than the architect. And the architect, in this case, is God. So Linden ain't greater than God. Then he just stopped going to that graveyard and pointing out that to him. And as others pointed out, there were plenty other participants. But this one man, we continue to think. The young people today don't even know. My kids, they don't know who Linden is. Give him another generation, no one's going to remember him. Only the people who would have been around. While we appreciate his contribution, and that cannot be taken from him, he has benefited. Him and his wife collects his salary, his pension plus hers. They need to go sit down. I appreciate and respect her, but it's time to move on. And the PLP need to stop hijacking this thing. And as I think a guy called Darlin called earlier, this is no longer majority. This is minority rule. Whereas the FNM or PLP, the minority has continued to rule us to the benefits of the friends, family, and lovers. Thank you for your time, brother.
I appreciate your telephone call. There's the next text that came through. Guys, please hit me up with the text before we get out of here. 422-4796, 422-4796. Bahamian doctors eat their young, Sparky. This is a text that came through. It says, to address the caller, this is nothing to do with the wicked PLP or the FNMs. I'm asking what she was upset about. Obviously, something offended her. Maybe she saw something that the caller did not. Howard, by the way, if you think that these politicians who are, okay, you know I ain't gonna read that. You need to stop it. In Jesus' name, amen. Please don't misread the 5 cents. These politicians that are in aren't Christians, especially those who are lovers of themselves or fear God, as a matter of fact, right? Don't listen. You know, they putting all the Mason things in here. You all need to stop, right? It says, I'm glad that the Lady Pinning used that setting. As a young Bahamian, I believe that the party used the graveside visit for posturing. So the timing was quite appropriate. Wow. It says, hey, Howard, people talking about all kinds of things, but I'm talking about fixing these crime situations in this country. We need to hang them high if they're guilty of murder, right? This is a beautiful show. Loving the conversation. The disrespect was obvious. If you listen when she announced the person presented there, the protocol was not properly established. She was not asked to bring remarks prior to, maybe because they knew what she was going to say. I had a lot of respect for Mr. Mitchell, but appears that he is very arrogant, disrespectful, and haughty. When she used the age card, that was a very snobbish remark. He should apologize and show some respect for God's sake. And when the person shouted out, PLP all the way, I was like, what the hell? So she said, this was supposed to be a national event. There should be an event for the public to attend and learn something, since a lot of the people did not know its true meaning. Like my boss and I discussed this morning, a monument should be erected with Sir Linden Pinlin and all other nation builders' names on the plaque itself. I do agree with the dame using as a stepping stone. This was supposed to be a national event. Furthermore, the role that she and others play was led by majority rule should not be politicized. I could say much more, but I'll leave it there. Okay. Accept what you're saying. It's a good day, Howard. Good show as usual. Is that by the way? I agree. It says BTC, but I think you mean by the way, BTW. I agree with Fred Mitchell is going. Oh, you're reading something else. Listen, I'm not going to read that. You need to stop, right? The PLP need to give. Why would you want me to disrespect the people who support the show, right? It's indecent. I can't do it, right? So it says the PLP need to give the graveyard a break, right? It says, as a black Bahamian, I disagree with white Bahamian sentiments 2,000%. I went to the recent FIBA march and I saw white little boys and girls marching up and down with Bahamian flags on their backs, shouting, "Go Bahamas!" They get that from their parents. And who could be more white than Mark Halawasko? The man gone to the top of the world to plant a Bahamian flag. Let's stop with the white, black, old, young, divisive conversation, divisive talk. I agree with you. Let's do that. All right, so the caller needs to respect his elders and watch his mouth. My children know who PLP is, who Pindling is. Show Miss Ping respect. Respect your elders. Fred needs to apologize. But Fred gave like a little flippant apology, right? He didn't go into this kind of a depth and detail. We heard this kind of approach that he's taken. He said, this is what I'm going to say. So political parties have become dysfunctional minority, FNM and PLP. Now, I agree with that wholeheartedly. We've come to the end of the show, guys. I want to thank you so much for the contribution. I want to thank you so much for this kind of a wholehearted conversation. And I really want to thank you and thank the persons who sponsored the show. They are Commonwealth Bank, J.S. Johnson, Marco's Pizza, Rev Bahamas. And if you want to be a part of the contribution and sponsoring the show, you can be able to hit us up at 302-2000, 2300, 302-2300, or hit me up on my cell phone, 827-0111, 827-0111, and we can create this for you. Tomorrow, we have a great show. It's going to be like the introduction of what I'd like to do for Small Business Thursdays. So I got somebody that's coming in to be able to talk about small business and sort of lay the groundwork for you to know that Thursdays is a day that we're going to highlight small business in the country. I want to thank you again. And the synopsis of the conversation is this. I think it's time for us to come to an understanding within ourselves, collectively, individually, that the country is shifting, the country is moving. And whilst we pay homage to the tradition that held us up, it's time for us to move progressively with those traditions in our hearts, but move with that kind of progression and strength to see the country move forward and have more inclusion. Thank you so very kindly, guys. See you tomorrow right here, Stick and Stay, for Z Live on Guardian 96.9. The Foundation, Howard Grant. I see you tomorrow, Godspeed.
Foundation.